anyway, we'll get into the INEOS Grenadiers preview. One of whom, you know, their best GC rider is doing the Giro. At least I'm not sure if that's officially announced, or I guess we've just decided it's happening. Geraint Thomas, but a reflection on their year, Benji. 9 World Tour wins. A lot of wins, 36 wins, but only 9 at World Tour level. In terms of actual points from World Tour competition, I believe Bahrain were ahead of them in terms of wins, Grand Tour wins, and points in World Tour competition. So in the serious stuff, people don't think of it, but Bahrain were a better team maybe than INEOS, if you look at those sort of numbers. But still some highlights and bad luck. Like, I think they were very unlucky in the Giro, and which has become, since COVID, the race they've won twice, right? They've really targeted and done well at.
Correct. And the thing is also, with Geoghegan Hart crashing out, major step in the race, because I still believe to this day that he would have been very competitive for the victory, because he was so bloody good in week 1, and you never know what's going to happen in week 3 then, because the races he were good at were also the races he wasn't good at in the past, like the time trial he was in. That was an amazing time trial. But anyway, he crashed out. Geraint Thomas, second in the end, the plus 10th. But if we look at that race, I also feel like tactically there was something missing, as in, I feel like they didn't realize that the high expenditure stages would impact Roglic and play the defensive role, and therefore didn't get the best out of the race. Would that have changed the outcome? Maybe not. But they didn't get everything out of it, in my opinion. That being said, second in the Giro, solid result for Thomas. So, good result. Tour de France. 5th, Carlos Rodriguez. 2 stage wins with Kwiato and Rodriguez. 1 stage win in the Vuelta with Filippo Ganna, the time trial. Grand Tour-wise, it's not a horrible season, but it's far from the days where they were competing for the Tour de France. They just weren't there, and there was a bit of a light point. Was it, God, what is the name of that bloody climb again? The climb in the Tour de France, where they're going up that climb with the tram rails next to it, that Pidcock was still in the group.
Puy de Dôme.
That Jorgens, yes, on Puy de Dôme. There was some light point there for Pidcock, where I didn't expect Pidcock to be in that bloody group for that long.
And Grand Colombier, he was third behind Jonas and Poggi.
Exactly. So there is some hope GC-wise there, even though consistency throughout 3 weeks. And his time trial is worrying at the moment, even though time trial was not an issue earlier on in his career, I swear. So what do you reckon? Well, we're going to that question later. Let's continue with the results first. 1-day races. Pidcock won Strade. Second at MSR with Ganna. Second at LBL with Pidcock. And second at Montreal with Sivakov. So 2 podiums at Monuments. Very close.
And top 5 Roubaix with Ganna?
Very possible. He was in that group. I don't remember the exact result he had.
And that was the biggest surprise to me, and positive surprise to them this year was Ganna in 1-day races. I didn't see it coming to that extent. Sorry, he was 10th in E3 and 6th in Roubaix. I was just off.
Close enough.
He also won Tour de Wallonie. Yeah, it's not a World Tour race, but it's a classic style stage race in Belgium, and he was their highest point scorer by quite a long way this year. So I think that's surprising that he developed not just a time trialist, not just a soft stage hunter. He's a guy that could have won a sprint in the Vuelta. He could have won a big classic, and he probably could have won some other stage races if things had gone his way.
I agree. And with the 1-week races, Luke Plapp getting second at UAE Tour, completely forgot about that. Obviously, greatly benefited from the echelons, but it's part of the race. That's part of what matters. And the way he rode from not being in the echelon to being in the echelon stage, he literally closed down the gap with, I think, Koy in the wheel. That was spectacular, the way he did that. So I'm very curious to see what he will be doing in a different team next year. We'll talk about where he's going in a second. Third at Tirreno with Geoghegan Hart, so good result there. Third at Bologna with Kwiato. I feel like Kwiato had a better year than I remembered. That Tour de France victory on Grand Colombier was on point. And if I recall, he nearly won the stage to Cotere as well. He was there together with Johannesson.
Former enemy, yeah.
A former enemy. You're right. Oddities. I've got a list of oddities here. As in, they didn't send Sivakov to La Vuelta, which was a bit disturbing to me. And Was it because he was leaving the team? Because I can't really
Yeah,
really
for
remember
sure.
why. But
Yeah, it
okay.
was. Of course. Well, you don't think he was in good enough shape?
No, he definitely wasn't good enough shape, but I just forgot what the reason was. But it still felt odd. So that's why it felt odd, because he was good enough to go and he would have been a good rider there, especially instead of Bernal, in my opinion.
Dude, that team,
But
they were so shit in the Vuelta. Of course, he would added a lot. Why did Bernal? It wasn't even good for Bernal to do it.
yeah,
Like
it made no sense.
Bernal did 79 race days this year. How does it make sense to him to do 79 race days? All at World Tour level, except for Hungary and San Juan. Or like
Makes zero sense.
two Grand Tours, non-competitive in all of them.
Yep.
In both of them. Like, but yeah, I guess Civikov's leaving and Bernal's still on a big contract.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was strange, as you said.
That brings us to the transfers. And about that, before we dive into the actual names, I do want to talk about the drama a bit. We had some rumors during the transfer season, as in we've spoken about them quite a bit now, as in they had a list of transfers they wanted to do. Then from higher up, Brailsford maybe came down, said, fuck those transfers, we're doing different transfers. And we kind of saw that rumor resembled in what was happening, as in Rodriguez, you can go. 10 minutes later, Rodriguez, no. I know you signed for Movistar now, but we desperately need you now. Like, that stuff sounds like mismanagement. We spoke about it already, but they're changing their management, stuff like that. But how bad was it, in your opinion?
Pretty bad, I think, because yeah, they had to go and basically buy him back from Movistar is what seems to have happened. And then there was all the management changes, Ellingworth resigning, and who else left? Like a lot of upheaval. Cummings now the head race coach. Roger Hammond left. Cummings takes his role. So we'll see how that pans out. But certainly there's been a lot of, we can say it wasn't the best season. They definitely did underperform relative to their budget, but also their budget continues to obviously contract. Like, they shipped out Adam Yates and Carapaz and Dylan Van Baarle, and they had wins and big wins too, but they also had big salaries. And now that exodus has continued of big salaries with Sivakov, Gegenhardt, Martinez, those three all going to big budget teams, all with established Palmares or potential, and so they'll all be on solid 7 figures. So that's more money sort of off the books, and certainly the riders coming in are not. Well, I guess Carlos extension is going to be on more money, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and maybe Ganna's his kicks in. I don't know. I think overall the budget's contracted, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess that they've let those three go if they thought, okay, these three riders, Sivakov, Martinez, Gegenhardt, are not the future of the team. Although it is somewhat surprising to see the last British Grand Tour winner, not that long ago, go to a different team. But what about the young guys they let go, Benji? Is that also surprising to you, Plapp and Tullett?
When it comes to Tullett, yeah, I kind of expected him to stay earlier on, and Plapp similarly. But I also feel like if you're Tullett in a situation of, okay, your contract is running out, that it might not only have been INEOS not wanting Tullett anymore, it might have been Jumbo being a more desirable location for Tullett. As in, I think that option is valid. I think Tullett might think that it's a more attractive team to ride for. And yes, there's a lot of competition in that team, but there was also a lot of competition at INEOS. So it's kind of in a similar boat that he is, in my opinion. And when it comes to Luke Plapp, then I feel like Plapp's a weird one because he didn't have a great season. It was injury related, though. Next year's an Olympic season. It might just be that he wants to ride for an Aussie team again, even though he probably enjoyed his time there. I feel like he might just enjoy being a Jacom or a bit more free in between quotes. And I think he'll have a lot more opportunities there. So I believe that's a good move for Plapp. Because in general, I just feel like INEOS is not the most attractive team to sign for in World Tour anymore. And that's been the case for a few years now, where if you're a very young youngster, if you're, for example, the rider that's coming, AJ August, I can understand if you're going to INEOS. But once you reach the point where where you've hit your stagnation point for a bit, like where even Hater is at the moment, I'm like, you can choose to stay and hopefully break through that barrier, or you can leave the team in a new environment and maybe break through that barrier easier that way. So maybe Plap thinks he can break through that barrier in a different place. But you're right about the big names, Sivakov, Hard, Martinez, and so forth. Sivakov-wise, I also believe that he's come to a point where a new to environment would be good, even though the money probably didn't annoy him that way he was giving him. Gegenhardt, similar fashion, a new location is valid because he might want the new environment to try and shine in. But once again, he's probably getting a bit more money at Little Trek as well, I'm guessing. Martinez, yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know what he's going to do at Broe, so.
Strange, isn't it?
But that being said, Cameron Worth still a question mark. Let's see if he stays or not. There are 27 riders now. They were at 30 at the end of 2023. So there might just be, there might be 3 showing up in the next month and a half. We don't know yet. But incoming transfers, there were a lot of rumors when it comes to INEOS. As in, Verona was mentioned ages ago as a potential Castro replacement. Tobias Vos was mentioned 1,000 times, and then he was not mentioned anymore because then suddenly they weren't interested in him anymore is what the rumor was, but then suddenly they were again. So I wonder about the following. They were negotiating with Vos according to the rumors early on. There were high figures mentioned, like 7 figures was mentioned or something. That's a lot for Vos. That's too much for Vos in my opinion. That's the amount you'd give him if he'd do his World Championship TT every time trial. But I feel like outside of that, then the rumor came that they weren't interested in him anymore, or that something happened or something. But then they came to an agreement again. So my question is like, is that not true that it kind of stagnated, the idea? Was that related to the other teams? Or is it related to the fact that they realized they were offering him too much in the first place and then kind of fucked him over and now offer them less?
Well, something obviously did happen because Jens Haugland didn't leak. He just said it publicly to Eurosport Norway back in June, ages ago, that Vos's agent was asking for crazy money because he already had like a deal.
Yeah.
And then Vos, I just checked, INEOS announced it on 27 November, like 3 weeks ago. So something's happened. Like you could have announced him in August, September. So something's happened, whatever that was, but he does end up being on the team. Won the Lavinier, obviously in 2019. He only raced 36 race days this year, started decently in Algarve, but then really the season was a write-off for the most part. So
he had a shit year. Like ever since he's won the World Championships ITT, the only moments where I've seen him was in the Canadian Classics and Cuyol as a domestique. You're right, those two. And like, what Vos needs to become to be valuable for a team like INEOS is that domestique that you can count on every time.
Yeah.
Castro or Moscon when it comes to his climbing performances, combined with some performances in hilly classics like the way he rode Montreal or something, that race where he was really good at. Like, I don't know. That's how I see Tobias Vos at his good there. He can also do slight ruler stuff if his TT skill is still somewhere in there, because you can't win the World Championships ITT and then never perform that same TT ever again. That'd be devastating for him
somewhere. Exactly.
But outside of Vos, Oscar Rodriguez, like, sorry man, but this is part of the Carlos Rodriguez. Yeah. Because if you don't know what we're talking about, this agent Aquadro, which if I recall is also the agent of Oscar and Carlos Rodriguez, whenever he tries to get a GC rider of him signed to a team, for example, Carapaz at EF, he puts another rider in that same deal to try and force them into World Tour still as well in a proper team. So Amador did that with EF, and then Oscar Rodriguez now with INEOS. So this feels like a package deal. I don't think Oscar Rodriguez moves the needle at all. I think he's an average mountain domestique, and that's kind of it. I can't add much more than that to it. But AJ August, what do you think?
Don't you think it's strange though? Like a British team getting someone like Oscar Rodriguez instead of
Yeah.
Archie runs Irish, not British, but an Anglophone,
Yeah.
or Lucas Neruka
Yeah.
going to EF. Like, don't you think that's strange?
I feel like this is a year where every month I shouted, Ineos missed out. Ineos missed out. Nerurkar, whether it's Ryan Nerurkar, in the past, maybe Healy as well. But also,
Yeah.
I feel in addition to that, when Roglic came on the dinner table, that's a weird thing to say. When Keon became available, like, well, did he become available? That's still a question. But when all these GC riders became available, Ineos wasn't visibly hunting them very well. And
maybe they were. Maybe they were.
Maybe they just didn't have the money.
Or the rider didn't want to go there.
Yeah, that's also very possible.
Like, they can't force someone to sign with them.
Imagine.
But yeah, Jack Root-Congray is the other one I was thinking. On San Piron, he was on San Piron, 21-year-old. So yeah, I think he came fourth in Worlds in that dysfunctional chase group. So it is like 3 incoming signings. I guess you got the extension of Carlos if you want to be generous, but it is surprising. Now, maybe that's why, Benji, you said to me, are we sure we want to do this? Because 27 riders, is there someone else on the boil they might be trying to sign, particularly as all their signings were really delayed? But I'm trying to think, like, who's really on the market? I mean, we've seen maybe people are on the market that you never thought were on the market. But, I mean, AJ August, we should mention, 18 years old, born in 2005, big American prospect. Him and Jorgen Nordhagen were sort of neck and neck in Course Le Pays Juniors, which is a Czech sort of big junior GC testing race. Nordhagen narrowly beat him there. He's got a good TT for such a small rider, big climbing prospect, and yeah, it looks to be a really, really serious guy. So 18 though, 3-year deal. It's, yeah, they're just going to hope to develop him, I guess. They need a dev team. It'd be better to park on a dev team.
Exactly. Fully agree with that. That was the point I was trying to make. Is this another symptom that they're missing that development team, that U23 team? Because now we see UAE having their Gen Z team under their World Tour team, for example. Every proper World Tour team that wants to establish a development pipeline towards their World Tour, wants to grow in a long-term vision, I feel like has a development team. And that brings me to the question, what is the long-term vision of Ineos? Because Thomas is not staying for 10 more years. He extended for 2 years, but he's probably not staying until he's 48. So I would expect that...
Did you hear Bala wanted to come back? And Inzue had to tell him no.
Really?
Yeah. He wanted to come back.
Why would you say no? You can win Flash 10 times in a row again.
I wish he came back.
I would have signed him. I would have definitely signed him. But anyway, Thomas is leaving in 3 years, let's say, roughly. Pure guess, but probably won't see him until he's 46. Broe retires. Ben Swift retires. Pidcock is still there. Ethan Hayter's still there, but he's stagnated. Let's be honest about that.
Are you sure?
Leo Hayter.
He's out of contract.
Well, right now he's still there, right?
Yeah, sorry. I mean, you said in 3 years. I thought.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, those riders are still there.
Yeah.
Joshua Tarling, that's a big one.
True, big bright spot. He's unbelievable.
Ben Turner, relatively solid bright spot. He just had a bit of injuries.
Bad crashes.
Connor Swift's just an average domestique at the moment, like solid domestique. I'd say he's like Ben Swift, but young.
Yeah.
Weird comparison, but we'll take it. There are bright spots, as in Tarling is a bright spot, Turner is a bright spot. We've said it. Pidcock, I'm okay with, even though it's odd. What is the Pidcock thing like? What is it? What are the possibilities for him? What is his future?
At the end of the day, the sponsors love him. Yep. Like, you can say, oh well, he's not winning Tour of Flanders, he's not playing the tour, but the sponsors love him. Like Gobic, the new kit sponsor, I don't think it was like he's front and center in all their marketing, and for Pinarello, and so they all love Pidcock, I think, and so his contract pays itself probably just before he even races. But your point is, you know, we're a road focused podcast, so I agree. Like, what's the plan? I don't know.
Tom Pidcock declared that he's going all out for GC at the Tour de France, but he's also mentioning that a top 10 doesn't motivate him. So I'm like on the page of like, so he'd already need to fight for top 5 or podium for him to be motivated for GC. And then I'm like, I don't see the podium right now. Top 5, he doesn't have the consistency for it at the moment during the Grand Tour. His time trial needs to be better. So I need to see improvements before the start of the Tour de France. And that's exactly what Pidcock also said in his interview, where he will decide based on the 1 week races before the Tour de France what's a viable goal at the Tour de France, which I think that's a good thing to say. There's a lot of GC riders that just start the year by saying, I want podium at the Tour de France. And then they're shit at every 1 week race, and then they're shit at the Tour de France. And I'm like, it's good that he's like taking it step by step in that sense. He's also doing Ardennes with that. This does kind of motivate me a bit when it comes to Pidcock, you know? The fact that he's saying he wants to go all out for GC, but is he also doing that? Because it's a year with Olympics mountain bike.
I think he's the best in the Ardennes. That's like, currently, that is what he is the best at.
Yeah.
I think. If you said, what is Pidcock's number one skill? I would say it's a Liège-Bastogne-Liège race, or even Flèche, where it's like sprint. He has a sprint, he has the punch, he's lightweight, he can ride the flat a bit, like in Amstel and Brabant. I think the Ardennes is what he's currently best at. And like, you just got to look at that consistency that you mentioned, Benji. You know, third on Grand Colombier, stage 13, Uni Puerto. The next day, and this is the difference, Peo Bilbao, Jai Hindley, not the best on Juplin.
Correct.
Not the best days. They lost 146. Bilbao lost 319. Simon Yates, who ended 4th in the Tour, by the way, lost 321. Pidcock, 840 on a single stage. 840, the first properly hard stage. And then the next day, and bear in mind the day before, so unless he got sick overnight, might have, I don't know. But the day before, he was flying. So. And then the next day to Saint-Gervais, Mont Blanc, 8 minutes. No, that was to the breakaway. Let me count. Quick maths. He only lost 2 minutes or so, or a minute 40. But that was a short
I recall
climb
that
too.
He was already behind on the little hill before the final section to the finish.
Yeah, he got dropped in the middle of Amarande and was struggling.
Yeah.
So there's something in his physiology that clearly, whether it's endurance or whatever, needs to be Grand Tour focused or stage racing focused. But whether that's compatible with winning mountain bike gold at the Olympics, I don't know. I'm not a trainer.
What is your hot take? Tom Pidcock, what is the highest GC place at the Tour de France he will reach in his career?
Oh. I don't know. You'd have to ask him. I'd need to... It depends I think he can win it. But
holy fuck, I don't.
But he'd need to change. Yeah, but he'd need to want to live a different, no cross, no cyclocross, no mountain bike. Just Vingegaard schedule, Vingegaard training. Because he's got the size, the correct size for it. Maybe he won't have that aerobic endurance. It's not possible because he's so punchy naturally. I don't know, but
I'm saying 5th.
5th? No, I think you can do better than 5th.
At the moment, I don't see it.
I mean,
I hope he proves me wrong.
He barely races World Tour stage races, and he rocks up each year, wins a mountain stage, or comes third on consecutive or closely linked mountain stages. I know there were Uni Puerto. It's like there has to be something in there. So I think he can. I would expect him to podium it at some point in his career. I don't think he'll win it, but I would expect him to podium the Tour.
But I feel like Pidcock is in the place that so many GC riders reach, but then don't break through. And at the moment, I feel like Carlos Rodriguez is likelier to podium a Grand Tour than Pidcock is.
No, because Carlos has so many weaknesses that I think are less trainable. He can't ride the flat. He can't TT that well. CTT's okay. He can't punch or sprint to save his life. How will he be in break formation? But his endurance climbing is really good, which is kind of important for Grand Tours. So, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Will it happen in 2024? Probably not, given the Olympics being on. But what is their overall goals as a team? What are they writing down? You're in the room with new management, Benji. Yeah. They've just hired you. They haven't, but if they just hired Benji as part of the shake-up. What are their realistic goals? Salary. 7 figures. Yeah, why not? They're probably spending. Yeah. What's your goals for the team?
Pidcock and Ganna both need to each win a relevant one-day race. I feel like, because they were close, man. Like Pidcock top 3 LBL. Pidcock won Strade.
Yep.
Ganna top 3 MSR. Got relatively close in Roubaix. I think one of their goals is trying to get Ganna to win MSR while trying to get Pidcock to win LBL. I think that's the goal. If you even get... Go ahead.
Why wouldn't Pidcock be good on the Poggio?
Well, he was over the Poggio in the year that Stuyven won, right? In the group with Kwiat.
Yeah, he was right
Pidcock
there.
Tried to attack, and he got blocked by someone.
On the descent, he was sending.
Yeah.
I would send... Okay, yeah. So I would make MSR a big goal because you got Ganna and Pidcock, and Kwiato's decent too. And so I imagine I was... Try to get Tarling over the Cipressa. Imagine him putting you in position on the Poggio. So,
well,
MSR,
good luck.
I think realistically they can actually win that race. I also think
fully agree.
Roubaix, big goal. They've won it before last year.
Yes.
Ganna was very good. Tarling there, go to win Roubaix. It's also more of a lottery race, you know? Things can go right for you.
Yep.
Whereas RVV, it's like, you kind of have to be the best. And so...
Yeah.
I also am not sure RVV is conducive to the rest of Pidcock's calendar. Maybe it is. I don't know.
And when it comes to Roubaix, it's also not just Ganna, eh? I also want to see Tarling in there in the future.
Tarling,
I want to see Ben Turner again. I want to see all the riders that we've Sheffield. Those riders I need to see in Roubaix.
No, Chef. Mate, I'm not.
Slipped him
I'm
in
keeping
there.
Chef away from cobblestones.
Really now?
What? He's not a bike handler.
I'd put him on the cobbles. Fuck it. Gotta learn it. Otherwise, we're sending you to Blanchy.
I'll send him to the Ardennes and Tour of Flanders. Flanders and Roubaix cobbles are different. I would send him more to Flanders.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. Jorgensen style.
Yeah.
It's not the same rider, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Other would be fixing Ethan Hayter. That's got to be... Yeah. They got to find a way to work through whatever's happening there. Like, they got to... It's been the last 12 months, nothing's really changed with the issues that are in races, so...
Agree.
He has the talent to win a Romandy stage. He has the talent to do more than winning a Romandy stage, but then...
He should be cleaning Romandy stages, cleaning Catalunya stages, cleaning Vuelta hill stages. Some of them. So, he should be winning a Grand Tour stage.
Yep. I thought he'd be winning 1 weeks. Like soft 1 weeks.
And one-day races, classics like Omloop and so forth, I expected him at the start of his career to be able to get over the Muur and compete with the best riders then, and all those things did not happen. He just got stuck. He got stuck at, he could compete for GC at Tour de Pologne. Sorry, but we expected more from Ethan Hayter, and I want to see more of him, because I was pretty hyped to see his career, and it's kind of dead now.
No, huge. He's 25 years old.
The hype is dead. The hype is dead.
The hype is, but inside there is a huge engine. Like,
I agree.
Where'd he come in? 4th in World Championships ITT in his second year. Or actually, he's been on the team since 2020.
Yeah.
It's his 5th World Tour. That can't be right. It's his 5th World Tour season next year.
Correct.
British champion of the TT. He's not that big, so like he should be able to climb really, really well. He does climb really well, but I think there's a huge engine in there in a relatively compact package. They have to work on him because he's regressed in 2023, and they got to figure it out together. And because like in 2021, for example, 4th in Britannia Classic,
Yeah.
2 stages of Andalusia with a good GC result, 2nd in Algarve.
Yeah.
He but hopefully they do, and I think as a British rider with that much talent, that should be a big priority, as well as just that's more of a process thing, isn't it, Benji? Like progress amongst the youngsters, because you can't just be like, oh, we're going to win the Tour with Andrew August, like that's stupid.
Yeah,
he's not going to do the Tour de France. It's more like how are they developing as a World Tour rider? How are they competing at Settimana, Coppi, Bartoli, which he'll do. But then
and that's
at the end of the day, you still got to get results too. It's not a dev team.
Yeah, it kind of half is, because you don't have a dev team, so you're developing your riders in your World Tour team, and that makes that 5 to 10% or 15% of your team is being a dev team, while your rest of your riders need to actually get the results. So Michael Leonard, for example, or Leonard, whatever you pronounce the Canadian, like, he's still progressing. He's not showing a potential breakout next year imminently for me. His Avenir wasn't good. So I'm on the page of I need to see more of him. He's still young. He's 19. So let's see where that goes. So that's the kind of rider that needs to be on the development team and not on the World Tour team of INEOS. And that's why INEOS needs a fucking development team. But next to that, Grand Tour-wise, Geraint Thomas podium Giro. Trying to win is the aim.
Win the Giro.
That's the aim. But with Pogacar there, it's going to be difficult.
You go to win.
You always got to go to win, 100%. Yeah. But realistically, I see them podium at the moment.
Yeah, of course. If they podium, it's still a good result. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, fucking, how'd you not beat Pogacar? Like, but you go to win, and then, yeah.
Top 5 at the Tour de France with Rodriguez or Pidcock. You'd aim for the podium, right?
Yeah.
But top 5 is already a good result, in my opinion, for Rodriguez and Pidcock. Although you kind of want to see progress with Rodriguez. You don't want to see him stagnate.
Podium.
Yeah.
Podium.
Pidcock top 5 would be big, though.
For sure. If he's just there, just there with the big boys all 3 weeks and gets 5th, that's really good. So
exactly.
I think
at worst,
Mosquito is just obliterating me. This fucking bastard. I don't know where it is.
How dare they? At worst, Pidcock needs to win a Tour de France stage to get some hype going. But very important, Josh Starling to win the Olympic ITT. Does INEOS care about that? I do.
I think so.
I think so too.
I think their goal should be to lock out the can they lock out the podium? No, they can't lock. Tarling,
unless
Ganna.
They sign at Remco mid-season.
Oh, Remco, yeah. They got okay. Olympics and Zurich, I think, is a bit hillier, so that'll be that'll be. I think that should be a big focus for Hayter to podium that. I think he should be a big focus for him. So, but as we said, like, I also think that we haven't mentioned Tymon Arensman at all. Like, what role?
Yeah.
Like, is he just going to go to the Giro to be a domestique with G? Is he? I think he has to do the Giro.
Yeah.
I would make him ride for his own result, particularly with Pogacar going, as a long-term development thing. I think with Bernal can't be taking spots in races of riders better than him. I know he gets paid a lot more than everybody else, but the Vuelta, that's it.
He's just not good enough, and that's harsh after what happened, but that's the case right now. At some point,
but I don't think it's best for him.
Oh, true.
Wouldn't it be better for him to get back with training and altitude and peaking? Like, this isn't the schedule he rode when he was killing it. So why is he doing it now?
I don't get it either. But Arensman, I'd see Giro Vuelta maybe.
Yep.
Regardless of whether he rides for himself or not at the Giro, I think the Vuelta is a good spot to go to anyway. Because Thomas isn't going to do it when it comes to the double of Giro Vuelta and then deliver on both occasions. Unlikely, based on his history. So I think I don't mind Arensman doing that.
So I think they got to get a bit smarter on race targeting.
Yeah.
So, like, Thomas shouldn't do Catalunya. Yeah. He shouldn't do the race Jonas does. and he should do. I mean, he's usually not good in March anyway, but like they should just get a little bit because like I think there are results there that they can get out of Swiss, out of Paris-Nice maybe, out of definitely at Bologna, which they've already done in the past, and maybe it pays Vasco top 3 with Carlos, but they just gotta maybe be a little bit more targeted with that.
By the way, can I just go on a fucking rant about the whole marketing thing around INEOS, where they're always saying, "Oh,
Jeez,
we're the non-conformist team. We're the what was the other word? The way in their Gobic advertisement."
Oh, I think that doing it their way,
the unconventional way.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck's unconventional about INEOS in 2023? There's nothing about this team that shines to me as unconventional. Is it because Thomas is old? No, like every year there's a GC team with a rider that is near the end of his career. That's not special. Is because Pidcock rides every bloody
I think they mean
kind of
the
discipline
Pidcock
they can
thing.
find. Sorry,
Yes.
but Van der Poel does the same. Like Van Aert does the same.
Benji
What
coming
the
for the
fuck's
Gobic,
unconventional?
the Gobic marketer.
Whoever invented that, look at the team you're working with. They're not unconventional. I like INEOS, but they're not unconventional.
It's a half a Quadro Frankenstein.
It is. It is.
I actually like the new kit, and
I like it too.
I think Gobic's got good reports, so hopefully it's good for them.
Yeah. And to be honest, when bio races started with them, there were the ripples in the jersey in the races. Remember?
Remember the port when Port crossed the finish line? It was unbelievable. Maybe, but listen, everything, this has maybe been a little bit negative, but everything, and to be honest, like people are, but
I am
why you like, well,
about their future.
For the future, there's things to be positive about, but you can't run away from 2023. It was their worst season in a decade, maybe longer. Maybe their worst season since Sky got good. Like, I look back, they had never not won a World Tour 1 week race for that long into a season. Did they win one this year? Let me check. Did they win Bologna?
I don't remember Bologna at all, man. Don't remember Bologna at all. Like, not a single stage of that. Wait, was that the one where Micah deviated and still got the stage win? I think it was.
So I think maybe they got scammed out of Bologna. Well, actually, that was pole on pole vials. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. But anyway, the last time they didn't win a World Tour 1 week stage race, or any World Tour stage race, was like 2013 or 14 or something, or maybe when everyone crashed out, maybe even longer. So it is the reality. Like, it wasn't a good year, and why did that happen? And what's going to happen in the future? So I think, yes, a little bit maybe negative, but it is based on a reality, and there are good things to target in the future with top 5 tour, or I think podium tour, winning the Giro, winning a monument, winning the Olympics TT. These are big results that I do think they can realistically target, and there's enough talent in those youngsters that you would hope they can kick on. Like maybe Sheffield just something clicks and bang, he's like the next really big serious guy.
Maybe suddenly it clicks with Ethan Hayter that we don't see the work that's being done behind the scenes, that suddenly it does work, and I'd love to see that. And I'd love to see what Tarling can do outside of time trials in about 3-4 years, because maybe next year is not the year that he needs to branch out yet. He needs to branch out after winning the Olympics, because I've already clicked he's going to win the Olympics, so the ITT, that is. I want to see what he does in cobbles after that. Same thing for Ben Turner. When is the moment that he clicks to the point that we'll see something extra on top of what he already showed, because that injury did hold him back? And there's many riders on this team that I felt like stagnated at a certain point, but the moment they cross through that stagnation, they can deliver big things.
Yep.
Except Viviani.
I forgot what I was gonna...
He's washed.
Yeah. Maybe they sign a couple extra people, but I'm not sure who it would be. All right, it's time for our predicting their World Tour wins for next year, Benji.
Oh. Ooh, spicy.
I'm going with 7.
You're going with 2 less than 2023.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with. Ooh. I'm saying.
They lost Gegenhardt, Sivakov, and Martinez, and
But
added
those are not the
Vos.
winners anyway.
Yeah,
Win
but
World
generally
Tour?
speaking, though, generally speaking, Martinez and they'll get you at least a couple. You know.
I'm going to go with 9 again. The reason is that I believe Starling will win more TTs in a Renewy
True.
Tour and so
Yeah.
forth, those kind of things.
True. That's yeah.
And
They won
in
16
addition,
in 22.
my hot take is that Ganna wins MSR. Is that a hot take?
That's a pretty hot take.
Okay, I'll take it.
My hot take is that Josh Starling wins the Olympics.
Okay.
And it's not that hot. I've had more flaming hot ones.
Yeah,
And
his favorite now since this podcast.
I got to go with a really crash hot one. Geraint Thomas wins the Giro.
Okay, I'm saying Remco joins the team by the end of the year.
Oh, that's interesting. I think that's pretty possible. Do you think that's what really is happening? That they're kind of just sort of keeping things going, waiting to get that guy?
I don't fucking know, man. I
That
genuinely
would make
don't
a lot
know.
of sense. Yeah, because you slot Remco in right now. You slot Remco in, and all of a sudden it looks a lot different. You know, they still got good domestiques.
What I don't understand is INEOS really that attractive for Remco still? I'd sign for 5 other riders before I'd sign for INEOS right now. 5 other teams. Intermarché. No, on a serious note, if you're Remco, I would sign for. I'd rather sign for something like Lidl at the moment.
No, I would. No chance.
I would.
INEOS are much more professional.
Well, have we seen that in the last year? We keep saying that, but I haven't seen it in the last year. Their tactics at the Giro were defense and hope that Thomas survives, while a different tactic would have been better for a better result.
Yeah, but when was the last time Trek was sniffing a Grand Tour podium?
Well, the last time they had a GC leader in port.
Yeah, 2020.
And they podiumed the Tour then, so they do have the experience, in my opinion. And like in the Vuelta, that stage with Ganna and Thomas trying to win the stage, that shows tactical issues as well, in my opinion. Mismanagement when it comes to the transfers. My assumption
is that with Remco, like they wouldn't do that, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
Could be all in for him. Maybe you're right. But I think still we might see it. I mean, that's your hot take. You think he's going to go there? I think they were right with their transfers outgoing though. I do think they made some really hard decisions, and I think they're probably right to have let those guys go, particularly Martinez. Yep. Like, no way I would have kept paying Martinez. Zero chance. I don't care if he wins a Basque Country stage or whatever. Yep. No, thank you.
Sivakov, you can't compete with UAE. That's it. And Gegenhardt,
tell us the one. It's like you can't be letting. You should 22-year-old British GC prospect. That's the one you want to. And it's not like he's going to be He hasn't won a Grand Tour stage, so he's not getting Sivakov money. But anyway, and Plapp, I think he's going to be happier at Jayco. He's going to just be more focused on him. But that was the INEOS Grenadiers preview for next year. I think there's some big races in there that they can indeed win. It's another year where we're like, is the Pidcock GC project in full swing yet? It sort of remains to be seen. It's obviously the Giro with Thomas will be a big goal, and hopefully they put up a big fight against Pogacar there. We'll be counting on them. And frankly, I really hope INEOS do move back up again so that it isn't UAE and Jumbo plus Van der Poel and Philipsen winning a lot of the major races. It'd be great to see INEOS. I mean, now Broe here with Roglic, but it'd be great to see INEOS back there as well. That would certainly make it more entertaining. But unless you got anything else, Benji, I think that's it for the INEOS preview. I got 7, you've got 9, and we've done our hot takes. Until the next one, ciao.